And I
And I don't
see this
think it gets that
article. I see
well.
this article that Gabriel posted about Stoudemire defends Black Hebrew Israelites, whatever, whatever. Yeah, that's what. Listen, like I said before, according to the Torah, it says that the children of Israel will be taken to a land by way of slave ship. They'll be sold as bondsmen and bondswomen. They'll be called proverbs and bywords. They will be inflated to prison houses. They'll be affected by diseases. Don't no one buy them out of it, and that holds for a lot of for the children that is for the children that the people that are in America. They were brought to America by way of slave trade. They are affected by the highest order diseases. They are they were slowed to slavery. They children were taken away. All those details that are written in Devarim and Deuteronomy 28 discusses what's happening right now with the African American people. So my whole point of having that statement of saying that the African American people are and could very well be from B'nai Israel, I still stand by that. But I'm not defending anyone for any anti-Semitic slurs. That's not the whole point of that article. I see you just posted that, Gabriel. I just wanted to clarify that for you.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I just got DM this article, and I was just reading through it, and I was kind of wondering about some of the quotes attributed to you in the article. Now I know enough to know that sometimes reporters don't get everything right. Sometimes even like videos of people speaking are misquoted in articles. So I don't want to assume anything, but I wanted to post it up there, and thank you for addressing it. I guess my one question is, like, so there are a lot of different people, right, who have been enslaved, who have been taken on ships to other places.
I have
I
no
mean, the
idea. I have
Romans.
no idea who have done that before. Can you name to me someone take about what slave ships to a country and lost their remembrance and have no more remembrance of who they are?
Yeah, so the Romans, right? The Romans enslaved many different people and traded them. I
Right,
can
but wasn't
probably
wasn't by
well, one,
slave ship. They
one, one,
basically
one,
walked to Rome.
yeah, yeah. So the my point is, right, that there are many different groups of people who have been displaced, dispossessed,
Right, but I'm
and
saying the Torah specifically says by way of slave ships.
yeah. So Yehoshua, give me a sec. So I'm trying to kind of,
Yehoshaphat.
yeah, that's what I said. I said Yehoshaphat.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah. So I think I think there's lots of different groups of people who have kind of gone through these things.
I can't think.
And well, okay, can I finish? Thank
Sure.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I guess my point is that there's there's really no evidence other than, like, you're saying, hey, this group of people fits the scripture. You believe they fit the scripture.
Correct.
Well,
Now
that, that,
there
that
are
that's
there
not true.
okay.
That's
Wait,
not true.
Yahushua, let me just finish my sentence, please. Come on, let me just finish what I'm saying, and then, like, please do respond, and we could have a dialogue about this. So my point is, there, the fact that there are parallels, there are connections. I mean, if you look at the civil rights movement, Jews and Black Americans and Black Jews talked about the parallels and the connections quite often, and talked about why we identify with each other a lot. There's a lot of conversation about that. That said, um, saying that, oh, because there's some things that fit or could fit a prophecy or something in the scripture, that means that Black Americans are all or mostly or many are in fact Israelites. That seems like a pretty big stretch. That's not really evidence
I
based, right?
disagree
Well, tell me why.
because the Torah specifically gives you every single itemized item of what it says or what happened to these people, and that's exactly what happened to those people. That's the only reason why. And for someone who's trying to find their identity because America's not telling them who they are, the only place that someone can find their identity is by going to the Torah and see if it says anything there about who they are. And once you discover that you could possibly be from the children of Israel, now technically there's a total of 12 tribes, so we don't know exactly which tribe we could be from, but there is a correlation there that
Hmm.
the African Americans could very well be from B'nai Israel. Not saying that, not that's just what we've discovered.
Okay, so I'm glad we're having this conversation. I'm glad we're talking about this openly, right? Because it's like I think we danced around it a little bit earlier, but I guess uh, it wasn't like one tribe lived alone by themselves and then that tribe ended up in Haiti, right? That's not how Jews lived and worked. It wasn't like one tribe, ended up in Morocco, right? So it's not like which tribe, right? So that's the first thing. The second
There's two
thing is,
tribes. The tribe split. The tribe split after King Solomon. There was a northern kingdom, southern
well, I'm
kingdom.
I'm aware, I'm aware, and there
Both
was a
tribes,
war.
both tribes,
Yeah,
both tribes were
yeah.
taken into captivity and they were lost. So both tribes left. Every single tribe of Israel was taken into captivity.
I'm aware of that, but my
Okay.
point is that you're not going to like find a particular like today one of today's countries and say, hey, this is where this tribe went, and then go to a different country like this is where this other tribe went.
Right. I agree with
The,
that.
the tribes, the tribe. Because I'm only just addressing a small comment you made. Is probably like not the biggest point, but like you were saying, like, well, which tribe? It wasn't like that. The tribes kind of lived together. They intermixed quite a bit, and then later, when they were scattered, it was like it was again. It wasn't one tribe going east and another tribe going west. It wasn't like that. But I guess my bigger point is there's simply no evidence to say that Black Americans, on the whole or at large, are Israelites. It's
The
just
That's
Torah,
not
false.
the
true.
Torah
That's not
says it.
true. That's not true. There is
It's just
evidence.
Sorry.
it's just
Rabbi
false.
Chaim Kanetsky, no, Rabbi Chaim Kanetsky, Rabbi Avadia Yosef, the chief rabbis of Israel, made takanot, meaning they gave rulings and said the people that are in Nigeria, Igbo people, are descendants of the tribe of Dan. And there's two shitot, meaning there's two different opinions on how we deal with this issue. The Ashkenaz opinion is they have to go through Ger Sahumra. The Sephardic position is by the chief rabbi of the International Beis Din. His name is Rav Eliezer Demanta. He holds that they have to show that they just live Jewishly, and he's going off of different perspectives. So from the rabbinical, Haredi, halakhic, Jewish understanding that there is complete proof that the people in not just Nigeria, also Ethiopia, also in South Africa, the Limba people who have DNA directly with the Kohanim tribe, these people all halakhically have been said to be a part of Israel, and they had different ways to do it. Some people said the Ethiopians need to reconvert. Some people said they just need to leave Jewishly. So there's a big discussion on how to do it. But in terms of having proof and data, we have hundreds of years of data record, family, mother to, like you said, mother to son, mother to daughter, whatever, that transferred Lodor Vador, that whole experience, we have that. We have complete proof from that. And many African Americans who were in the transatlantic slave trade were descendants of the tribes in Africa who were sold into slavery because they were the ones who were sold first, right? The king of King of Africa, whatever his Muhammad, whatever his name is, he wrote in his memoirs, and this is like public information, that we Africans are not heathens. We did not sell our African brothers into slavery. We sold Canaanites who were living in the land of Africa for over millenniums. That's what their position was, right? So
Not
we
true.
have to say, when that black person says that there's a tradition in my family that we have Jewish roots, we can't just throw that out. Just the same, we can't do it from a person who's from Spain, who's Ladino. We can't do it with someone who's from Europe, so we can't do it from someone who's from Syria, Iraq, or anybody else. Israel is all over the world, and I think what Yosefat is saying is that, hey, you know, these in our, I mean, not to put his business out there, but Yehoshaphat, he went through his whole process of transformation in Bnei Brak under Rav Chaim Kanetsky's grandson, right? That's the person who made the ruling. So for us to have the position and say that, hey, you know what? There is proof that African Americans have a connection. Now, are we saying all African Americans are descendants of those tribes? No. But we are saying that it is something within the Masura, the tradition of African Americans that go way before slavery. And then it's also a dynamic that today, halakhic wise, that we have proof to pull. So I think it's okay that people feel the way they do, but we do have proof that many African Americans who were in a transatlantic slave trade. And the thing is, don't ask us, go and ask the Igbos. Go and ask them. Where? Go ahead.
The G is
Yeah,
silent.
yeah.
Can
One
I
second.
jump in, Gabriel? I
It
was waiting for a
No,
while.
not
one
quite yet,
second.
Aquarius. Sorry,
Let
not yet.
Gabriel answer, and then we
Yeah.
will go back to PTR. But we want
Actually,
to keep this
yeah, I was
conversation
actually
going.
gonna. Yeah, I was gonna throw it to Labe or Chava. I think I saw you guys on mute for a sec.
Oh, I see. Okay, Lab, yeah.
Okay, as far as the genetic studies, all right, the Lemba people, those are thought to be descendants of some Sephardim who did some amount of trade, and it is genetic markers in them. As far as the Ethiopians, they are not considered one of the ancestral populations of Jewish people because they don't have the same genetic markers. You can look this up. And when you talk about, okay, this rabbi ruled this rabbi ruled that, I've heard this 1,000 times. These guys are Talmudists, okay? They're not scholars, they're not geneticists, and you're lucky if you can get one of them who knows their times tables up to 12. Okay, just because somebody rules it, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily reality. But and as far as like the genetic studies again, because I'm really interested in molecular genetics, if this was the case, somebody somewhere would have found some type of genetic trail from ancient Israeli tribes all the way to black people in the United States, but they won't find it because it's not forthcoming. And as far as the slave trade, okay, it's not only in Nigeria that people, or what is now Nigeria, that people took slaves. They took, slaves were bought from coastal areas, a lot of them. I had my DNA tested, and my family is mostly from Senegal. But when people wanted to like buy slaves, the disease patterns in Africa are so bad, you can't just go and take them from anywhere. You have to work with local people, and they have to sell them to you because it's been people who came to the African continent 150, 200 years ago, and they would die before they got 50 kilometers from some strange disease. So that it's a real stretch. But I mean, if you want to get this question answered, you don't have to speculate about it. You don't have to get rabbinic rulings. You just talk to a molecular geneticist and like deal with whatever data they have because they do have data, which is not the same thing as halakhic rulings.
If I
Leave. We
could
don't
Thank you.
have any pre. Hold on a sec, guys. The what you're talking about is starting with the Canaanites. We have Canaanite DNA. We're able to figure out from there who are the Jews that moved from there. The problem is we do not have one element of pre-Canaanite DNA. So there's no way to prove if people, if we did in fact come from Egypt.
right,
There's not one bit of genetic
What,
data that shows
what,
who are the people that came from Egypt.
correct,
And so
Andrew.
the, I with agree. the genetic data, okay, the human genome is like several couple of billion base pairs long, and it's just a statistics game. Okay, how many of these do you want to count out? How many single nucleotide polymorphisms do you want to count out so that you can determine what direction these people took? So I mean, to give an unrelated example, because this is could get to be an emotional issue. If you go down to south of India, they have like a bunch of Tamils, a lot of people from Kerala. If you look, they have islands called, I think, the Andaman Islands or the Solomon Islands, and they have some people there that look very much like Black Africans today. And come to find out, those few hundred people are the genetic imprint of a large number of Tamil Indians and like these darker Indo-Dravidians. So North and South Indians are two different things, as anybody who sees them knows. And geneticists went back and reverse engineered how did this come to be. They were able to decide that North Indians were like descendants of indigenous people plus Persian farmers.
Let,
Because if you
let,
if
let,
you
Yeah,
count
because
enough
they're
base
able to
pairs,
pull
that's what
up the
you'll find.
Persian farmers and match the DNA. I've studied this a little bit too, and brother, I'm with you 100%. It's a very interesting conversation. I'm just saying we cannot. There is, and I'm not picking a side here. I'm just simply saying there is no way to say definitively one way or
exactly.
another.